Welcome, beautiful soul, to our Peacefully Aligned podcast. We are your hosts, Crystal, Sam, and Precious. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about self-compassion. We're going to be giving you the 3 components of self-compassion and also have general conversation about our experience based on self-compassion. Make sure to stay tuned to the end, where we're going to be telling you what our next week topic will be about. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast. New episode will be uploaded once a week. If you would like to connect with us through our social media platform, you can find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok by searching for Peacefully Aligned.
I have struggled with self-doubt and self-criticism in my life, and always feeling overwhelmed with guilt and shame when things didn't go as planned, and constantly comparing myself to others. But then I came across the work of Dr. Kirsten Neff, a leading researcher in the field of self-compassion. She focuses on the concept of self-compassion, which she defines as treating oneself with the same kindness, concern, and understanding that one would offer to a good friend. Self-compassion involves being kind and understanding towards oneself during difficult times, rather than being self-critical or judgmental. I realized that the way I was treating myself was the opposite of self-compassion. I was harsh and unforgiving with myself, and it was affecting my mental health, relationships, and overall well-being. I started to practice self-compassion, and it made a world of difference in my life. I learned to be more understanding and compassionate towards myself, even when I made mistakes or failed. This allowed me to learn from my experiences rather than becoming stuck in a cycle of self-criticism and shame. I believe that self-compassion is associated with a number of positive outcomes, such as greater well-being, less anxiety and depression, more resilience in the face of stress, better relationships, and greater life satisfaction. It is also a more effective motivator than self-criticism. I have personally found mindfulness exercises coupled with self-compassion to be incredibly helpful in developing a more compassionate and understanding relationship with myself. Some self-compassion techniques we can cultivate: retraining our brain to be kind to our thoughts and emotions, listening to music at 528 Hz and 852 Hz, growing the voice of the inner friend. Ask yourself, what would a good friend, my good friend, say to me right now in times of struggle and criticism, and learning to start saying those things to yourself instead. Learning to be aware of our triggers and treat ourselves with kindness at these times. Ask yourself, where in my body can I feel it? What does it feel like? And then begin to breathe into it. Adopting a grateful mindset and a self-care routine. I want to stress the importance of self-compassion in our lives. It has made a huge difference in my life, and I believe it can do the same for you. By learning to be kind and understanding towards ourselves, we can build resilience, improve our relationships, and lead happier and more fulfilling lives.
To have compassion means to empathize with someone who is suffering. Often when we see someone in pain, we have this urge to reduce their suffering, but when it comes to ourselves, why is it so hard? Maybe because since we were born, we were being taught to be kind to others, but what about ourselves? When do you acknowledge that you need the same kind of love you give? This is the most difficult part to overcome while reprogramming your mind, but I would say it's most necessary. Showing compassion to yourself does not make you weak, does not make you anything less. If anything, it can shape you in who you truly are. It is not normal to keep living in pain but refusing to change. And trust me, I know you feel trapped in your anxiety, and every time you try to stay positive, that voice in your head, the voice of doubt, knocks you down, and eventually you give in and you're back on doing everything you're supposed to do. On a same repeating cycle of misery and self-doubt, and everyone needs to come before yours because it's less painful and easier to fix other people's issues than look at your own. Because it hurts. But what if I told you it's meant to hurt? It was never meant to be easy. This is something we all share. It's a universal human condition. You're not less important than I am. Your needs are not less important than mine, just because I might not understand them. And maybe nobody's meant to understand you. Maybe it's time you stop relying on somebody else to hear you and hear yourself. Maybe it's time to stop self-criticism and be there for you. Be your own best friend. Find a friend in you.
So stepping out of your critical and into your self-kindness. Why you need more self-compassion today. Self-compassion is the practice of treating yourself with kindness, understanding, and acceptance. It can be seen as an extension of self-care and involves being mindful of your thoughts and emotions in order to take better care of yourself. Self-compassion helps you recognize that everyone makes mistakes and experiences hardship in life. So rather than beating yourself up for it or comparing yourself to others, you learn how to accept your shortcomings and moving forward. The benefit of self-compassion includes improving your mental health, increased resilience when faced with difficulties or failures, more positive relationship with others, to increase empathy, great satisfactions with life overall, and even improve physical health. Recognizing negative self-talk is highly important. One of the key steps is recognizing negative self-talk is finding the root of your thought. Negative self-talk can come from a variety of sources, such as past experience, family dynamics, or even cultural messages. By being aware of where these messages are coming from, you can start to understand why you can have certain beliefs or expectations that may be causing you distress or discomfort. Once you identify the sources of negativity, think pattern. It's important to take actions in shifting them into more positive ways of thinking. This could involve challenges any irrational beliefs you may have about yourself and replacing them with more realistic alternatively that focus on your strength and success rather than weaknesses or failures. It may also mean reframing situations in a way that will allow you to grow your self-improvement. Instead, beating yourself up every mistake that you've made, practicing mindfulness. It will also help you bring more awareness to any automatic negative thought. Finally, just to wrap this up, it's important to remember that no one is perfect. We all make mistakes sometimes, but we learn how to practice kindness towards ourselves. When we do, we go a long way in helping us moving forward with confidence. So rather than dwelling on our shortcomings.
So guys, basically what we're trying to say is let go of any shame and guilt that you carry within yourself and be there for you. Because at the end of the day, you only got one life. So make best out of it.
And remember to start cultivating the voice of your inner friend.
And during this process, just make sure that you're kind to yourself and just be aware of your surroundings and always stay true to yourself and never let anything drag you down, because as Precious said, you only have one life, and that life, this is the only life that you have, so make it worth living. If you find value on today's episode, we would greatly appreciate your feedback by leaving your thoughts and feelings, or alternatively, you can connect with us through our website www.peacefullyaligned.com and sign up to our weekly newsletter. We are thrilled that you have joined us today on our podcast. Thanks for listening. Hope you have a peaceful week. Until next time, your host, Crystal, Sam, and Precious.